Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Sports Hype. Right, we're back. You already know what's going to happen in this episode. We're going to be talking about our NFL Week 8 recap, right? What happened during Week 8. We're going to be talking about the Commanders. What are they doing? Why are they moving Chase Young all the way out to, San Francisco? What's going on with the Raiders? Why are they getting rid of their GM, their coach? They're cleaning the house. And then finally, James Harden. Where did he get traded to? Jake,
The
where did he get traded
Clippers.
to?
The
He got traded
Clippers.
to the Clippers, right? And what happened last night? They just lost to the Los Angeles Lakers for the first time in 4 years?
Three.
3 years? Yeah, something crazy like that. 3 years. The Los Angeles Lakers just beat the Clippers. It's all going to be in this new episode of Sports Hype.
Yes, sir. So I'd like to start out by saying LA will always be a Lakers town, and that's just a fact. We're going to start out by saying that. But let's talk about that other Clippers team because they made a blockbuster trade the beginning of this week. Obviously, you touched on it. They landed James Harden. It was a 3-team deal. So the 76ers sent James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev, who actually got waived already, to the Clippers for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a 2029 pick swap, and an additional first-round pick from the Oklahoma City Thunder. So what's your thoughts on that trade for the Clippers and the 76ers and what it will do for both teams?
Well, PJ Tucker was already in that trade, right?
Yeah.
All right. And you said he's getting waived?
No, the Philip Petrusev
Okay.
got
Gotcha.
waived.
Yeah,
PJ
yeah. All
Tucker
right.
played last
Well,
night. He made
that's
his
what I
debut last night.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Because I didn't know what you were saying there. So, anyways, yeah, great piece. Adding to me, yes, you do get the versatility in James Harden. You get a great guard who knows how to, be a floor general, pass the ball, also can score too, right? At will. You get a more important player though. To me and to you, and I know to our other co-host, PJ Tucker has the winning mentality. Everywhere he goes, his team finds success. And it's not just because, he's a spot up three, shooter right in the corner, but he does all the little things, right? He does all the, defensive aspect of the game, right? He's great on defense. He's a rebounder, right? He does everything. And then he also is a great morale type of player, right? He'll boost the morale of the team in hard times, make sure that everyone's working hard, pushes everybody to their limits. And that's why PJ Tucker, to me, is the most important player that the Clippers just added, because that matches with not just his energy, but Russell Westbrook's energy of going out there and giving it 110% every single night. So adding PJ Tucker allows them to have great depth, right? But also allows them to have that, dog on their team along with Russell Westbrook. James Harden is going to be James Harden. Now, here's the thing for you. They have a two-time MVP or two-time Finals MVP in Kawhi Leonard. They have top 3 finalists in MVP multiple times in Paul George, multiple, all-star, appearances. You have Russell Westbrook, who's an MVP, right? You have James Harden, who's an MVP. So with this team collectively, collected, the sky's the limit, supposedly, right? How are they going to make it work in order to win a championship? Because right now it's looking like it's, championship or bust.
Yeah, it's definitely championship or bust. When I first saw the trade, I was a little nervous, but after having a few days to, reflect on the trade, it's like I'm a little skeptical, to be honest, because I think there's too many ball handlers on that team, not enough scoring to go around. And yeah, James Harden will help. Watching the Lakers Clippers game last night, I saw the Clippers offense get stagnant. He will help that in that aspect. He will not let it get stagnant because he will move the ball and make sure the ball gets to the right player. But at times he can also get stagnant himself. So I think it's definitely championship or bust, but I think it's going to be a lot harder than most people think for this team to win because of how many ball handlers there are and how many players that there are that want to score the ball at will.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that they can get stagnant, but here's the thing for me. Russell Westbrook and James Harden, when they were last in Houston together, yes, James Harden was younger and he was a better player then, but I still think he can do similarly what he did, back when he was with the Rockets with, Russell Westbrook. He averaged 33.4 points, 7.3 assists, and 6.3 rebounds, right? Russell Westbrook, on the other hand, in the 30-game stretch he played with the Rockets, right? I think it was 30 games, something around there he played in the season. He averaged 27 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 7.4 assists, right? So both of those guys had the majority of the load on the Rockets, which I don't expect here, but I expect that they can gel, right? That's my whole point is these two guys know how to work together and be successful. Now, going into the playoffs, right, for those two guys, they're not a playoff type players, or everyone knows them as a playoff type player, right? They don't show up in the playoffs. Yes, they're a regular season type of player, but that's why you have Kawhi Leonard on the squad. Kawhi Leonard is not, if not the greatest, he's one of the greatest playoff performers of all time. Back in 2019, he had one of the greatest playoff performances, if not the greatest, right? Leading up into the finals where he eventually won and became NBA champion with the Toronto Raptors. Then you add Paul George, who is a very questionable player, one of my favorite players. If you get a Pacers Paul George, or an OKC type Paul George, when healthy, right? Because I said this last time, he wasn't healthy these last couple of years on the Clippers. You get a healthy Paul George going into the playoffs, and he can carry a team by himself as well. So with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they can carry a team by themselves as long as they have a little bit of help. And then you add Russell Westbrook and James Harden onto that, saying, "Hey guys, we can take some of that load too." Because as you see, they know how to work together, right? So really, the sky's the limit. It is the fact that is Father Time catching up to them? Are they too old to make a push into the playoffs? Make a late push into the playoffs like the Denver Nuggets and like this new revamped Los Angeles Lakers team, which is, I would say, tenfold time younger than last year.
Yeah. I that brings me to my next point, which is you brought up health a lot. That's another thing that has me skeptical for this team because we've seen Kawhi Leonard get hurt and miss a lot of playoff games these past few years.
100%.
Same goes for Paul George, and James Harden has been lately too. And that leaves Russell Westbrook to do it by himself, which he cannot do by himself anymore. He used to be able to on the Oklahoma City Thunder, but he's not that type of player anymore. He's getting back to that type of player, but he still can't carry the load by himself. He needs some help. So if this team can stay healthy, the sky is the limit, but it's just, can they make it work together, and can a few people sacrifice scoring the ball for winning?
And I think they can. Obviously, I think Russell Westbrook can sacrifice scoring the ball. We all know, obviously, he did, what was it, 2 games ago? He tried to make a game-tying shot instead of pass it out to a wide-open Kawhi Leonard, who's arguably one of the most efficient shooters in the game, right? So in that aspect, I think Russ can take a step back. I think James Harden took a step back last year, averaging the most assists he did in his career last year, right? I think he knows how to, facilitate the ball better, not having to be that scoring, type player, but also being a facilitator. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, to me, are the 2 most important pieces. Obviously, they're the 2 best players on the team. But Kawhi Leonard, even if he goes down, right, which is most likely to happen, knock on wood, but is most likely to happen with you mentioning these last 2 years, having knee injuries and whatnot, bless you, having knee injuries and whatnot, right? Paul George just needs to stay healthy, whether it's his shoulder, whether it's his hand, whether it's his ankle or knee. He's just got to stay healthy, because if you have one of those 2 guys, they can still go to the Western Conference Finals, if not to the finals, and then hopefully Kawhi Leonard will be healthy by then.
Yeah, I agree. It's also their depth. They traded away pretty much half of their bench. So like, I don't see them being able to go 10-man deep like they did last year. They can only go 7, 8-man deep, I feel like, this year, which will also be tough to do because it puts that much more of a load on Kawhi, on Paul George, on James Harden. And will it take a toll on them? It might. We don't know.
So what was the trade? I don't think they got rid of that much depth in that trade, though.
They got rid of Covington.
Yeah.
They got rid of
PJ Tucker, which I think PJ Tucker is better than Covington.
They did get rid of Nick Batum, who's a shooter, and he was.
But he was ice cold last year.
Yes, but he has potential though. I think
he sure has potential. They still have Norman Powell, right?
They got rid of Marcus Morris and KJ Martin as well.
Marcus Morris, I would say, is not that bad of a loss, right? He's been losing minutes these last couple of years. Hasn't been as productive as he should be, right? We not like when he was, what was he on the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
That was Marcus. Yeah, when he was on the Celtics, he was more productive on the Celtics. I think if you still have Norman Powell, you still have Highland, right? Still have Terrence Mann, right? PJ Tucker you just added, and then you also have who Bones is still on the team.
Yeah.
You still have him, right? And I think you have plenty of depth. It's just that big man position. It's just Zubac, right? So is
And
he going
I
to be
mean, they
able
have
to
Mason
carry the load?
Plumlee, but they do have Mason Plumlee, but he's not that great.
I don't think he's a good fit. I think he was a better fit when he was on, the
Hornets, I
Hornets,
think. Yeah.
right? Yeah, the Hornets last year and 2 years ago. He had a better role. He had more minutes. I think that if you can maximize his potential, Plumlee's potential with Zubac, I think you have a great two-man, two big man, rotation right there. But I think they have a lot of depth. I think Norman Powell might be their greatest strength, shooting the ball. Terrence Mann, if he can develop into what he wants, I think they do have the depth that's needed to make a deep playoff run.
Yeah. Now that you brought up those points, I do agree. But it's just I feel like a lot of the West teams' bench is a lot better than their bench.
So you say that, right? Let's go to the Lakers real quick. Their bench is Christian Wood, right? Rui Hachimura. Gabe's not starting, right? So Gabe's on the bench.
No, yep.
Cam Reddish, Torian Prince. No, Prince is starting,
Hmm.
right? Yeah. So we
Yeah.
got even then the depth is Torian Prince, Jared Vanderbilt, and then Jackson Hayes with Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Torian Prince, right, starting. So they have the best depth, in my opinion, with the West. It's them, and then it's also the Denver Nuggets. They have great depth. Those are the two top teams in the West. Who would you say that can match up with the late? I know you are a Lakers fan, but who can match up with the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets? Is it the Golden State Warriors, right? Is it the Dallas Mavericks that has a hot start right now? Who can match up with those two teams in depth wise?
Yeah, I would say it would be between the Warriors and Mavericks, but I'd have to give the edge to the Mavericks because they've shown that they have more bench pieces so far this year.
For sure. Do you think I know we all have the hype about Kaminga and Moody. Is it time to move on from those two guys, or do you think they're going to have that great leap this year, which adds to their depth heading into the playoffs?
I think you got to keep Moody. I think he's going to have a big leap. Kaminga has shown flashes, but he hasn't been able to put it all together. So I think if they are going to move on from one of them, it should be Kuminga because he just can't put it all together in one piece for the Warriors.
Right.
But that also brings me back to your point about the bigs. Watching that Lakers game last night, the Clippers had no answer for Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis wasn't even being aggressive. He was just getting to his spots, and
Right.
they couldn't stop him. Like Zubac is not strong enough, Mason Plumlee's not strong enough, and then they put PJ Tucker on him, and Tucker's strong, but he's just too small. So they have to get a center in order to make a finals run, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And Kawhi Leonard, obviously, he didn't have the night that we all expect him to have against the Lakers, right? He, what did he do? He,
He went crazy.
huh?
He went crazy.
He did?
He had 38 points.
Oh, he did have 38. I'm sorry. I was thinking about, um, so who was I thinking? So never mind about that then. Yeah, so he did have 38 points. Sorry. I thought he had less than that. He had 38
No, I think
points.
you were thinking about the game before that against the Magic when he was struggling.
It was the game before. Thank you, thank you. He was struggling in the game before that. I do like how Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both had 30 pieces, right? 35 and 38 respectively. What Russell Westbrook shot 50% from the 3-point line, which is pretty crazy. 3 for 6, 24 points, right? The only thing is, why are you starting Highland, right?
I mean, they
Why?
don't. They usually start Terrence Mann, but Terrence Mann is out for do all season with an ankle injury.
Right. So why wouldn't you move people up, right? You would have Russell Westbrook at the point guard, PG at the 2, right? And then move in PJ Tucker. Because if you add PJ Tucker to that, or start even Norman Powell, who had 35 minutes off the bench, those I think Norman Powell has got to be more productive with 35 minutes, only scoring 12 points. Obviously, he was 0 for 4 from 3, which I don't think is going to happen again. And then Highland was 0 for 3. So they were having a struggling, offensive night. And Zubac obviously only had 9 rebounds and 7 points, which you cannot do that against Anthony Davis, as we've seen.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough for them if they don't get a true center, I think.
I agree. And here's the thing for me. Yes, we can be looking at the Clippers and what they're doing wrong. We got to look at the Los Angeles Lakers and what they're doing right last night, right? But also, can you expect a D'Angelo Russell to score 27 points on every given night? Can you expect that?
I expect him to get 20 plus a night.
Because I know I'm a supposed hater of D'Angelo Russell. You know that? So I like the patterns and history. History's shown he hasn't, played in the playoffs. We need to see that in the playoffs.
Yep.
Anthony Davis, same thing. He needs to be more consistent. And I liked what I saw last night, but man, let me tell you one thing. LeBron James, age 39 in a month, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 for 8 from 3, 42 minutes. That's a whole 12 minutes over his limit. A whole 12. Can we expect this from LeBron James the whole season?
I expect him to get 25 plus a night because it's just the greatness of LeBron James. You
Right.
can expect that. But I don't want to put this load on him this early in the season because I want to save him as much as possible for the playoffs.
But if you need to have the wins, have a good start, because as we've seen, it is so tough for you guys to be falling behind, right? You guys can do it. You guys can get to the playoffs, but you guys are gassed during the playoffs because you are so, you've fallen so far behind because you didn't have a hot start. If you get this hot start, can you rest him either in the midway through part of the season or starting in the end?
I'd say we can rest him at the end, depending on if we are top 4 in the West. I wouldn't mind resting him.
Right. So I think the Lakers they need to play LeBron like they are right now. Here's the thing for me. I do not like how Darvin Ham announced, we're only going to be playing LeBron James 28 to 30 minutes. See, that's where you got to keep that hush-hush, right? That's between you, him, and his trainer. You don't need to put that into the media. So now every single game, everyone's like, okay, LeBron's playing over his minutes restriction, right? LeBron James should play whatever minutes he feels like playing that given night or what the team needs of him, right? He's still playing the game. He says it all the time. He's playing full effort. He's going to give the game everything he's got, right? So if he has minutes restriction and they're only down by 4, he's already met his minutes, and Darvin Ham pulls him out, you can't have that happen, right?
No.
You got to show leadership, and that's exactly what LeBron's been doing by playing over his minutes restriction. It's just you should not be putting that out into the air that you have a minutes restriction for the greatest player in the league.
Yeah. I think that minutes restriction was a bunch of BS. Let's just put it that way. Because ever since that minutes restriction, LeBron said, nah, that's not happening. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm playing. We're winning. That's all I care about. We need to win. Because this season, especially with how deep the West is, if we only play LeBron James 30 minutes a game, we're not winning enough games to be top 4, which is what we need to be if we want to compete in the playoffs. And LeBron James knows that. So he's like, no, I will play as many minutes as the team needs me to play in order for us to win, which I love personally, because that shows me how much he wants to win and how much fire he still has for going out there and getting a championship.
In his 21st season, you would think the man's done it all already. He's the leading scorer in NBA or in almost world history. I know for a fact in NBA history, but he's almost there in world history, right? He's top 5 in assists, right?
Top 4. He's 4.
Top 4 in assists. He's the only player ever to have 30, 10, and 10.
Yeah.
So for for him to do that alone, he doesn't need to do anything else. He's got 4 championships, right? 4 MVPs, and he's still playing on an MVP caliber level at 39 years old. Everyone's just got to, sit back and just take that in, and be relevant in the moment, because LeBron James is doing something we haven't seen in year 21.
Literally, just stop hating and sit back and enjoy the show, because there will never be another LeBron James. It's that simple.
100%. I 100% agree with you in the fact that people are hating for no reason at this point, right? You can hate on the guy for never being like MJ. Well, he's not going to be MJ, right? He is LeBron James. No one's going to be Kareem. No one's going to be Shaq. Everyone's saying how Giannis needs to be like Shaq. AD needs to be more like Shaq, right? There's only one of these types of players, and you just got to watch them for the greatness that they are.
Yep, exactly. But going back to that James Harden trade, I had a question for you. Do you think that the Clippers should start Russell Westbrook and James Harden together? Because I believe it's a lot of ball handling on the floor, but I do also believe that Russ has earned the luxury to have the starting spot, even with James Harden, just because of how well he's played.
And for me, right, who are you going to put into his spot, right? I'm saying in respect that they don't have the depth, right? In the guard position. That's why they went out and got James Harden, is because they needed another guard. So they don't have the luxury of resting Russell Westbrook. Like, okay, we're gonna put Austin Reeves here, right? We're gonna play, back in the Lonnie Walker, right, instead of Russell Westbrook. They don't have that luxury. They need Russell Westbrook on the floor. Yeah, they can put Norman Powell there at the 2 guard and have James at the 1. But really, would you want Russell Westbrook coming off the bench if you're the Clippers? Not right now. So unless it's a smart move for them to do it, I would not do it.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that he is their best option at point guard. James Harden's natural position is a shooting guard. We saw that at Philadelphia. He was not the best point guard. He made some pretty bad decisions in crucial game time calls that, cost them the game. And that's why he eventually got shipped out, because it made Embiid very unhappy. But his natural position is and always has been the 2 guard. So he will be at his best when they play him at the 2. And Kawhi Leonard is big enough to play the 4. So just slide Paul George to the 3 and put Kawhi at the 4.
Right. And I think they are going to do that. I do believe that the NBA is moving more towards a smaller ball type of play. As we saw with the Warriors, they won a championship with the small ball type of play. So it's not like the Clippers can't do it. I just think that last year we saw the size in the Denver Nuggets compete and beat everybody. So you do need some sort of size, which I think Kawhi Leonard has, but you need more than Kawhi Leonard at the big man position, right, to beat the Denver Nuggets. And now look at the Los Angeles Lakers, who added 2, if not 3 centers to their roster in this offseason.
Yeah. I mean, if they couldn't stop Anthony Davis, with Anthony Davis not being as aggressive as he usually is, imagine what Nikola Jokic will do against them if they keep the same centers.
I don't think we've ever seen Nikola Jokic aggressive. I think he just walks out there and go ahead and scores 30, 40, 50 points.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they let AD do that, Jokic is going to put up like 60 effortlessly.
Right. And might as well added, 15 and 20 on top of that, right? Because that's what he does. Jokic is out here playing a game while everyone else is working, right? Jokic is here for fun, and everyone else this is a job. This is their, livelihood at stake. But moving towards, since we were still on the James Harden talk, the Philadelphia 76ers and Nick Nurse and what they have to do in order to win a championship now. Are they moving on from Joel Embiid? Is he going to be a New York Knickerbocker, or is he going to go down to the Miami Heat? I'm not sure if they should continue on with the process anymore in Philadelphia.
I believe that they should keep Embiid for this season. If it doesn't work out, and Embiid, I believe that if it doesn't work out this season, Embiid is going to force his way out. They won't have a choice. That's what I think. And I think getting James Harden off the team was a big boost, because he was becoming a cancer to that team, I believe, in the locker room. Tyrese Maxey has shown that he has the potential to be a starting point guard in the league, and he's been putting up 30 points pretty much every game this season. He was their best option, and even with James Harden there, and right now is their best option for point guard. And I believe he's a better fit with Joel Embiid. So I'm not saying they're championship potential because I don't believe they are yet. They still have a few missing pieces, uh, especially looking at the Celtics and what they've been doing, as well as the Bucks. You can't count the Bucks out, and even the Heat. I know they're 1-4, but the Heat always find a way. So like, I'm still not saying they're championship potential, but they definitely have a chance to contend.
See, for me, I'm not sure that Philly has the contending team, right? I don't think they have enough to go up against the Bucks, to go up against the top two teams, which is the Celtics and the Bucks right now. Right now, the Celtics are killing everybody with ease, just beat the Pacers by 50, right? No one in the Eastern Conference can go up against the Celtics and the Bucks right now. Giannis and Dame haven't even figured it out yet. They're still playing, ISO ball, one-on-one pretty much. They still need to build up that chemistry. Once they find that chemistry, it's going to be like that Kobe and Shaq type mentality type team where they're going to possibly win 3 championships in a row because of how great of the chemistry they are and how great of, individual players they are, but working together. No one's going to beat those two teams right now if you don't have the depth, if you don't have 2-star players like the Bucks or 3 guys that can put up 30 on you any given night in Porzingis, Jason Tatum, or Jaylen Brown. It's just that simple. I don't think Philly's got the talent around Embiid and Maxey to win. I'm a Cavs fan, and I'm not even sure we have what it takes right now because I don't think we're gelling like we did last year in the regular season, and we have the exact same team. So what's gonna happen with us? But right now, it's the Celtics and the Bucks.
Yeah, I agree. It is the Celtics and the Bucks, and we knew that going in. I just
Right.
didn't expect the Celtics to click this soon. It's been shocking to see what they've done, and obviously, Giannis is still trying to figure it out with Dame. Like you said, they got to get that chemistry down. But once they do, it's going to be very fun to watch. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, it's just this. I mean, the only reason I say the Sixers can contend is because I can never count out Joel Embiid. He's an MVP for a reason. He will put up 30 to 40 a game. He'll put up what the team needs him to put up in order for them to win. But it's just he can't do it by himself, which is why, unless they make more trades, there'll be another second round exit because Embiid can't do it by himself.
And see, that's exactly what I was about to say. I think at most Joel Embiid can take his team by himself like he has the last couple of years is to the second round. Because when you go to that second round, you're going to be going up against the first or the second seed, right? And those two teams are usually the Celtics, the Miami Heat, or the Bucks. And when you play against those top 3 teams, right, you don't have a chance if you're playing 1-on-5. So for him, I feel bad for, but for his team, they just got to step it up. And I think Maxey's got the capability to become an all-star this year.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. It's just Tobias Harris has been playing great as well,
Yep.
but those 3 by themselves
They
still can't get the job done.
Right.
They need help, and unless they make trades, like I said, I don't think they have enough.
Right. And I agree with that. So here's my question to you now. With watching the Celtics and the Bucks so far, who is the top team in the East?
Easily the Celtics. As of right now, easily the Celtics.
Easily the Celtics. Who'd you have going in the finals? The Bucks?
I had
Oh yeah.
Celtics.
You had Celtics, Lakers like me?
Mm-hmm.
We had the same. All
Yeah.
right. So as of right now, our projections are looking good. LeBron James looking good. The Celtics are looking good. Do you have any more NBA talk you want to talk about?
No, I'm straight. We can move on
All
to
right.
NFL.
All right. So moving on to week 8 recap, right? Let's go ahead and talk about your Cowboys.
Yeah. So going into that game, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous because that Rams team, yes, their record doesn't show how good they truly are. And I thought it might have been a trap game, but we put that to rest real quick. Jumped out to, I believe, a 26-0 lead.
Yep.
It reminded me of the week 1 win against the Giants. We came out swinging. That defense came out swinging. The offense took a little bit to get gelling, but once it did, man, Dak Prescott played his best game of the season by far. If he plays like that the sky is the limit for the Cowboys. It's just, can he do it on a consistent basis? If he can, we have the defense and the offense to win a championship. It's just a matter of if Dak can perform when it matters, and that remains to be seen. But I really loved everything. There was nothing I was upset about from this win. Like, special teams even contributed. They got a blocked punt. They had big punt returns. Like, they got us in good field position. The defense obviously did their thing, got pressure on Matthew Stafford, which is what you have to do to beat the Rams, and that's why he struggled. They shut down Cooper Kupp. I think he had 2 catches for like 14 yards, which is great. Deron Bland played amazing. He played like the corner I expected him to be when Trayvon Diggs went down. And it's just a big team win before playing probably the best team in the league right now in the Philadelphia Eagles this week.
Yeah. I don't think they are the best team in the NFC, right? Is that what or in the league?
I'm going to say, until someone dethrones them, I'm going to say it's in the league.
All right. So I think they're the best in the NFC. Yes, they have a great matchup coming up. This is the exact reason why I hate the Cowboys, right? Not just the Cowboys. I hate Dak Prescott because this is how great he is. This is the version that I want to see him every single week. This is why the Cowboys are always in Super Bowl contention talks, because they have the defense, like you said. Mike is going to be there. That defense is going to be there. It's based upon how Dak Prescott plays. And Dak Prescott, he played like an MVP caliber quarterback last week. Yes, I do think Matthew Stafford being injured, his hand or whatever, his finger, right thumb, being injured, didn't help the Rams' case, but that did not contribute to the game, in my opinion. I really think the Dallas Cowboys came in there. They dominated, like you said, special teams. If they do what they did, dominated, the Rams too, I think that no one's going to beat the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC. That's just my opinion, but it's all based upon if Dak can score those 4 touchdowns, 304 yards, right? And he still had an interception. So good for Dak. Tony Pollard had 12 carries for 53 yards, and CD. Did we talk about CD yet? Did we even talk about the brother yet? CD Lamb, 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 TDs. This is what I'm talking about, right? He is an option 1 on any given team. You just got to look for him. Right now, Devontae Adams struggling struggling with the Raiders, right? Not looking like a receiver 1. That CD Lamb, when Dak Prescott is not throwing him the ball, he's looking like a Raiders Devontae. So CD Lamb needs to get the targets, because this is exactly what he's capable of doing. This is exactly what Dak's capable of doing. And if they can help their defense out by doing this, who's going to stop them?
Nobody. It's just, like you said, a matter of what Dak shows up, and he needs to be consistent. It's just like the Lakers and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis needs to be consistent for them to win the championship. It's just that simple. You got to be consistent. You can't do it. You cannot go from being an MVP type player to a bottom tier quarterback. You have to either be in the middle every week or just top tier every week. You can't go to bottom tier every other week. It just can't happen like that, and you can't expect to win doing that. So it's just a matter of if Dak can show up in the playoffs, and if he can, we have the team for a Super Bowl. I'm not going to say we're going to win it, but we have the team for one. And CD he showed why he's a top 5 receiver in the league. He put those talks to bed. Okay. He's a top 5 receiver.
He showed a top 5 game last week for sure. But on a consistent basis, he's got to show that, right?
Yeah, which I believe he will.
His quarterback, but still.
I believe he will, because I think this was Mike McCarthy's doing, which I love, because he actually called probably his best game as a play caller so far. I loved every play he called, and I loved that he force-fed CD the ball. No one on that Rams team could stop CD. He saw early, said, yeah, we're getting him the ball. And I think that's going to continue to happen, because honestly, there's not many corners in the league who can guard CD Lamb. He's an underrated route runner.
And to me, that also has to go back into training camp when he's got one of the best, defensive backs in the league, Trayvon Diggs, on him, right? So those two in tandem, right, can make or break your team. And CD, yes, he played like a top 5 receiver. He's got to see more of that before you say he's actually top 5, and before he puts that to bed. Devontae isn't getting the looks right now, but we all know Devontae Adams is a top 5 receiver in the league. But but this is a great building point. Thank goodness, they're showing this because I had the Dallas Cowboys going to the Super Bowl this year, and it wasn't looking too good after they lost to the Cardinals and then getting destroyed by the 49ers. So hopefully now this is a good, momentum booster for them leading up to that playoff run.
Definitely. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous about this week because of what happened against that 49ers team.
Right.
The one time we played a good team this season, we looked like a bottom tier team. And I'm hoping that does not happen again. Because this is a big game. Like, if we win this game, we'll be that much closer to overcoming the Eagles in our division.
100%, right? Because if obviously you beat the Eagles, one, right? So two, you possibly, what are they going to be? Are they 5-2 right now?
Yeah, we'd be 6-2.
You'd be 6-2 and they'd be 5-3. So you guys have,
I think they'd be,
right?
I think they'd be 7-2.
7-2.
Yeah.
So I still think you guys would have the edge on them, right? Obviously, and then hopefully you guys can keep that. But moving forward for you guys, this is a good test, like you said, playing up against a great NFC team. Gotta win this game and then move towards others. And if you win these two games are momentum boosters, and you guys can help you go to that playoff run.
Definitely. We'll save your Steelers talk for the next segment.
Oh, I'll go quick. I'll go quick. Since we only got a little bit and we're gonna get broken up real quick, I'll say this: the Pittsburgh Steelers need to fire. Oh, it's not done yet?
No.
We need to fire somebody, and I'm going to be talking about that next.
I know who you're talking about.
Do you know?
Mm-hmm. So before we went to break, Gio was talking about a guy who needs to be fired. I believe I know who he's talking about. It's someone I've been calling for to be fired for years now. So did Gio finally get on board with me? We'll see. Let's see who you're talking about, Gio.
Years? I don't know if it was years, because hopefully we're not talking about Mike Tomlin, which I've heard, some people say they want to get rid of Tomlin because it's his fault, right? No, Tomlin's Tomlin. He's earned this spot. He's a great coach, right? We understand he's one of the best coaches in the league. He stays put. I'm talking about Matt Canada. The reason why we're losing games is our offense is not producing points. Yes, he gets lucky here and there, and thank goodness, Kenny Pickett maybe throws, George Pickens the ball a little bit. Maybe he throws, other people the ball a little bit. But guess what? It relies mostly on Matt Canada's play calling on why we're losing most of these games, and that's why our offense isn't producing, is because of Matt Canada. So if the whole entire Raiders organization can get cleaned out midway through the season, maybe we can get an offensive coordinator, and maybe, wait, did I say that right? Maybe can we get McDaniels? Can we get McDaniels at our OC? Come on now.
Well, I mean, it is a possibility now that he's gone. You never know. Anything is possible.
I mean, and he was a great offensive coordinator too. I know the offense didn't produce, right, on the Raiders, but if he can be a play caller, in the box, man, I would be so happy if we got McDaniels as our offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that would be a great hire. I didn't think about that until just now. That would be a great hire. I believe the Steelers will keep Canada the rest of the season, though, just because it's what they do. They very rarely make in-season changes, but I have been saying this for about a year and a half. Matt Canada is not a good offensive coordinator. He does not get his star players the ball enough. For example, George Pickens had one catch for 22 yards and a touchdown last week. If you get him the ball earlier, you're in the game. It's that simple. You only lost by 10. You need to get your star players the ball.
Was it 5?
No, it was 20-10.
Oh, it was. Yep. My bad.
You need to get your star players the ball. It's that simple. Like, if you look at any team in the league, if they don't get their star player involved, they lose. That's been the case for the Steelers. You need to make plays that gets George Pickens open. And if you do that, you have a chance to win any game.
100%, right? Also, we win games based off of our running game. That's the easiest way we can, score points and get our offense opened up, right? Yes, it is conservative to run, but we can open up our offense with a running game. Jalen Warren only had 5 carries, 19 yards, right? I don't even think, what did Najee do?
He didn't do much.
Nah, he did not do much. Hold on. I'll bring it up real quick for Najee. Yeah, Najee Harris, 7 carries. Are you kidding me right now? And 13 yards, 7 carries and 13 yards. Are you kidding me right now?
And that Jacksonville,
First
that
round pick.
Jacksonville, that Jacksonville run defense isn't even that good. Like their defense is good, but their run defense isn't their strong point.
Right. And we've seen teams run all over them this season, right? And it's ridiculous that Najee Harris, the first round pick, is playing worse than Jalen Warren, who did he even get drafted? I think he might be undrafted.
And
right?
that's why I've been saying that Jalen Warren eventually will take over Najee Harris if Harris continues to play like this.
100%. So yes, it is on Matt Canada and the play calling, but our run game has to get better. And if that can happen, in all of our wins, our run game is flawless, which helps lead, an open pass to George Pickens for that 40-yard touchdown, for Freiermuth to get that, 10-yard touchdown. That's what happens, and that's what we need to happen. So it all starts with Matt Canada and our run offense. So
definitely. All that being said, though, you are 4-3. You're still in the hunt for a playoff spot.
100%.
You're still gonna, I believe, will finish over 500. Your schedule, as you have said, is fairly easy right now. They're playing the Tennessee Titans, who are a mediocre team. Obviously, Will Levis did play great last year, last week, but it wasn't against a great defense like the Steelers. So we'll see what he does tonight. But even after this game, like your schedule is favorable. There's a few tough games in there, but you have a favorable schedule that you should be able to still make the playoffs. So I'd still keep my head up if I were you. This loss was bad.
Yeah.
This loss was bad, yeah, but everyone has bad weeks, and it's just a matter of if they can bounce back, and we'll see if they can bounce back tonight.
100% agree. I do think that we are still going to win the division. Personally, yes, I do think that we're going to win the division. We are on top of the division for the last 3 weeks. Our division isn't that great this year, or if it's very competitive, where we have the Baltimore Ravens, where we have the Bengals coming on top, the red hot Bengals coming on top, right? We have to play the Bengals twice. I think, in the last stretch of the season, we have to go up against the Ravens one more time, and we got to go up against the Browns one more time, I think. So that being said, I still think there's a great chance of us winning the division. It's just, can our offense, like Dak Prescott and his offense, can they be consistent? And that all falls down to, yes, like you, McCarthy calling the plays, and it also comes down to Matt Canada calling the plays.
Yeah, I still got the Bengals winning that division because as we knew they would, they've gotten their groove back, and I believe that they're going to continue to win. I won't be surprised if you guys, the Ravens are playing great ball right now, but you guys are only, I believe, one game behind them right now. So
right. We're 4-3, and I think they're
5-2. I think
5-2. Yeah.
So I think you guys could end second. I'm not going to say first, but I won't be surprised if you guys end second in the division and push the Ravens down to third.
Right, and that's where I believe I put them at the beginning in our predictions. I thought we would be the seconds, get a wild card, right, or be first and whatever. I did say we were going to be a wild card team, only because the Bengals are the Bengals, right? And I do believe if we beat the Bengals in the regular season, if we split the series 1-1, I do believe we will make the playoffs no matter what. And I also believe that we can make some noise if we can beat the Bengals, right, one time.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's going to be tough depending on how consistent your offense will be to get past the first round. It's just we won't know what to expect when the playoffs roll around because of the lack of offensive consistency.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. What was your most surprising game from week 8?
My most surprising game from week 8, man, there was a couple of them, right? To me, I'm looking at one, it was the Titans, obviously. I did not know this kid was going to show out Will Levis like he did. I want to say that the Jets-Giants was a surprising game, but really the Giants didn't really have anybody playing for them, right? They didn't have a quarterback. They were down to the third string in Tommy DeVito.
Right.
So I do want to say it had to be you guys. And this is why. I thought the Rams going in there, they had, a great team. They had a great offense, in my opinion. Yes, they had a good defense, but they had an even better offense. With Luka Doncic, as LeBron James likes to call him, right? He's a great receiver. And then you also have Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp didn't play that well, right? He only had 4 receptions for, I think, maybe 23 yards or something like that, which then affected, obviously their offense. But I didn't think it was going to be 43-20, like a blowout. I thought it was going to be a closer game. And obviously, that's what shocked me the most was that Dak Prescott had 4 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 120 plus receiving yards, right? 2 touchdowns. That's what shocked me the most this past week. And hopefully we can be accustomed to seeing this more often.
Yeah, I hope so. My most surprising game was the one you touched on, I believe. The Titans-Falcons was my most surprising because I did not expect Will Levis to come out in his first career start and do that. When I saw they were starting Will Levis, but also playing Malik Willis, I was like, oh, they're going to get blown out. Did not expect to see Will Levis play like he's been in the league for upwards of 5 years. Like he looks like a veteran. And if he continues to play like that, this is his job to lose, plain and simple.
100%, right? And you look towards that, and then you look at DeAndre Hopkins resurrecting his career, saying he's not done yet, having 3 touchdowns, 100 plus yards. He's not done yet, right? DeAndre Hopkins, Will Levis has great chemistry right now. And I'm loving the fight that the Titans are having, right? Not just against the Steelers, but what they did against the Falcons. Their season's not over. It's 3-4. The AFC South is for any, ball teams, ball clubs, grabbing, right? Yes, we all think that it's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, but Tennessee Titans, they got a chance to make some noise.
For sure. If they continue to play like that, and teams don't have a scouting report on Will Levis, so he can continue to take advantage of that and continue to play like that, they could surprise some teams.
100%.
But moving on to an unfortunate injury. Kirk Cousins, I hate to see this. I really love the guy. He's a mediocre quarterback, but as a human being, he is a great human being. So I just really hate to see it for him. He unfortunately did end his season with a season-ending torn Achilles, week 8. What does this mean for the Vikings? Does this mean that their season is over? Do they bring back Justin Jefferson? Like what goes on if you're the Vikings right now?
This is a terrible situation that you have here for the Vikings. One, I'm going to be thinking after TJ Watt just made that sack there. One, without his helmet, I love that. But one, this is a terrible situation because Justin Jefferson got injured. Now your quarterback got injured. Now you're in a dilemma where do you bring back your number 1 receiver, if not the best receiver in the league, to possibly get injured again, even though you still have half the season left, right? You don't have a quarterback. Are you going to still try to make a push for the playoffs? Or are you going to, I know you can't tank really in the NFL, but are you going to try to go ahead and get that better first round draft pick and hopefully get some help for Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I think they got to keep pushing. We didn't know what Will Levis would bring to the table. We don't know what this rookie quarterback would bring to the table for the Vikings. He is undrafted. I didn't really see him play in college. I never really heard of him, if I'm going to be honest, but no one heard about Brock Purdy before. So, I mean, he took the league
by the D2 kid, is it?
Yeah, it is.
This is the D2 kid?
BYU. He's from BYU. Yeah, Jaron Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, no one heard about Brock Purdy before he took the league by storm. So quarterbacks have come out of nowhere and surprised people. Maybe this guy could do that. But if he doesn't look good and doesn't start winning within 2 weeks, I'd say shut down Justin Jefferson and just hope for a high pick where you can get some help for Kirk Cousins when he comes back.
Right. So this isn't the quarterback that has a father that won 28 national world arm wrestling championships, is it?
I have no clue, bro.
I know there's a quarterback out there that's playing. I think it might be.
Well, they also do have Nick Mullins on the roster too, but he's on IR right now.
Anyways, I do believe anything can happen. Look at what man, I just forgot his name. Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh,
Look at what
yeah.
Teddy did when he came into the league, right? By storm on the Vikings. I do believe that anything is possible. If you bring back JJ, I think that they do have a chance at doing anything. Just like with Derrick Henry, if you have one of the best players in the league, you're gonna obviously have a chance to do anything you want. You might not go far in the place or in the playoffs, but you might have a chance. Now, is this a season-ending injury? Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Because Aaron Rodgers,
Well, Aaron Rodgers tore his in week 1. That's the difference. He tore his halfway through the year.
but you don't think if they make a deep run in the playoffs, he might be ready in
No,
second
because
round or something like that?
Rodgers has to miss at least 5 months. By then, it won't even be 5 months for Kirk.
Oh no, you're right. It's only wow. We're this late in the season, all right. We're in November. Yeah, we only got 3 more months left, and then we're into the playoff Super Bowl era. So yeah, this is terrible for him. I think he's a great consistent quarterback. I think he's a great guy, like you said. As long as he does have a strong, family, right? And he's gonna have a great time with his family, recuperating and getting better for next season.
For sure. Get well soon, Kirk, and we'll see what happens in free agency for you.
For sure.
But moving on to the Commanders, they traded let's just say this. They traded their two best players defensively and honestly overall. They traded Chase Young to the 49ers. They helped the 49ers get better for a third-round pick, and they traded
Yep.
Daron Payne to the Bears for a second-round pick. To me, the biggest winners out of that, easily the 49ers. You got Nick Bosa and Chase Young on two separate edges. What are offensive lines going to do?
See, this is what hurts me so bad, right? Because this team did not need any help whatsoever,
Not at all.
especially defensively, and you add a monster in Chase Young, the Ohio State alumni. Chase Young, this kid is insane. Going from a team that didn't know how to win, going to a team that was probably going to win the Super Bowl anyways, and that's just the icing on top of the cake. Chase Young is that player. Adding him with Nick Bosa, no one is going to know what to do when you have two animals like that on either side. So, congratulations to the 49ers for ruining the league once again. We'll see what they do offensively, but defensively, I don't know who's going to stop them.
Yeah, they're just like the Cowboys. Their offense is very inconsistent, but their defense shows up every week. It's going to be a matter of quarterback play for who goes farther.
But it's like if you had Micah and you had TJ Watt on the
Yeah,
exact
yeah,
team.
exactly.
The problem is with the 49ers is that you had a great team with amazing star talent. You just add another star to that. It's like adding, Kevin Durant to the Golden State Warriors. Who's going to stop them defensively? No one. I don't even think. I know how Star started that Miami offense is. I don't think anyone's stopping that defense.
No, I agree. Like even when the offense is going to get stagnant because the 49ers offense gets stagnant,
Right.
it's not going to matter because the opposing team won't score. They can't score because you can't double Joey Bosa. If you do, Chase Young gets the quarterback. Then you go double Chase Young. Bosa gets to the quarterback. What do you do?
And both of those players don't have to play every snap. Guess what? They're going to have fresh legs going into that next run. And man, when you have a fresh leg, Nick Bosa, when you have fresh legs, Chase Young, you got to watch out because they in themselves can go, 3-and-out by themselves for 4 series, right? And then go ahead and switch to the other player. So you'll have fresh legs the entire game, and the offense won't do anything. That's what's scary.
Exactly. It's going to be scary for opposing teams in the NFC. And honestly, I'm not ready to say that they're going to make the Super Bowl because I still got to see Brock Purdy do it consistently, and he wasn't able to do that last year, but it might have been because of his elbow. Who knows? We'll see what happens this year, but it's going to be hard to score on that defense, even for the Eagles, who put up, I believe, 30 plus on them last year.
100%. And just to say right now, we're watching this game live, the Titans game and the Steelers game, and that is not Matt Canada's fault. You know whose fault it is? That is Kenny Pickett's fault. That kid is a first rounder, small-handed quarterback, overthrew the ball to George Pickens to possibly get a first round or first down. I cannot believe that kid just did that. So yes, everyone's blaming Matt Canada, but as we just saw there, wide open pass and Kenny Pickett overthrows the ball. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean that would have been a long game. Let's just put it that way.
Come on now.
But moving on to something that you touched on earlier, the Raiders did clean house. They fired, Davante Adams had a little tantrum Monday night. Within 12 hours of that, they fired their GM, their head coach, and their offensive coordinator. I believe that all three were long overdue. This team has not exceeded expectations at all. And Davante Adams has been upset for a while, which I would be too, like you said. I mean, arguably the best receiver in the league, wide open every time. Jimmy Garoppolo can't hit him if his life depended on it. Like, I don't know what it's going to take for the Raiders to be good, but it's not Jimmy Garoppolo. They need a better quarterback, first and foremost, which is why they are changing to Aiden O'Connell.
Right. So I don't think that's enough. That's not enough, right?
No.
They do not have a quarterback, period, that can help Davante at all. Yes.
That's why if I was Davante, after that game, I would have went to the GM and said, trade me. I don't care. Trade me right now. The deadline's 24
hours. He said
he
wanted to change the scenery, and they didn't give it to him that Tuesday night, which was the trade deadline. They didn't give him what he wanted. Yes, they got rid of the GM. Yes, they got rid of the head coach. It's not enough. It is not enough for Davante Adams because he's wide open. How do you not throw him the ball? Yes, you can change quarterbacks, but really you need something better to make a difference. Their defense is getting better. Max Crosby is making a name for himself. Max Crosby is one of the elite pass rushers in the league. He's insane. So for him to do that, the things he's doing on defense, their defense is riding, their offense needs to step it up. They had Jimmy Garoppolo, who was in the playoffs multiple times, conference championships multiple times, into the Super Bowl, I think twice now. It's time. It's time for someone to help Davante because, yes, he had Aaron Rodgers, but right now he's showing wide open, 40-plus yards. Even if they double him, they're not passing it to him. And my goodness, what else can the brother do? He's telling you he's wide open. 2 hands, wide open. No one's going towards him. All you got to do is throw him the ball, and it's a touchdown. Yeah. I'd be upset, too. I'd throw a tantrum just like he did.
Yeah. I mean, he's arguably the best route runner in the league. He gets open within 2 seconds of the ball being snapped.
Right, yeah.
And Derek Carr doesn't look his way. What are you – or not
Jimmy
G. Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't
look good. Either way, Derek Carr wouldn't look his way.
They wouldn't look his way either. But Jimmy Garoppolo – never looks his way. I'm like, what are you looking at? You're looking at a dump down for Josh Jacobs for -1 yards. Davante Adams is wide open for a touchdown. That is why Jimmy Garoppolo is arguably the worst quarterback in the league because he does not know how to throw the ball. Even when he throws it Davante's way, it's 40 yards off the mark. Like, what are you doing? You're a quarterback. You should be able to throw the ball. What is going through your mind?
I mean, you would be better off with Derek Carr because look at what he did. Look at what Josh Jacobs did with Derek Carr.
Davante Adams was 10 times better than he is this year last year with Derek Carr.
Right. In my opinion, though, you're going to have him wide open. They don't have to look at the passing game when you have Jimmy G in there, right? That's why Josh Jacobs is having such a terrible year is because the defense knows this man can't pass. We only have to worry about Josh Jacobs. That is it. And that's why he's having such an off year, which is unfortunate for him. It's unfortunate for Davante. It's unfortunate for Max Crosby and that defense because last year their defense was terrible. Terrible. And they made some changes, and now they're playing better. And now you got this offense looking the way it is. It's unfortunate for them, man, because it really that defense stepped it up when they were, when they were shouted out, right? When they were, getting blamed for everything last year, that they're the ones that stepped it up this year. And now what's happening to the offense?
Yeah. I mean, with that being said, we do have to see what this kid, Aiden O'Connell, can do. I mean, he might surprise people. Anybody's going to be better than Jimmy G. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I mean, if he can put points on the board, he will give the Raiders a chance to win because of that defense, like you said.
That's all he has to do. That's all these offenses have to do when you have that great of a defense. Is just put a little points on the board. That's it, and then your defense can win you the rest of the game.
Right. Look at the Steelers. All they have to do really to win is put 20 points on the board because majority of times the defense holds their opponent to under 20.
Right. 100%. Look at what's going on with the Raiders, right? 24 points, if not less than that. You look at you look at the Dallas Cowboys, right? It all depends on the offense now because those defenses can show up, but it depends on the offense to help them put up points. The defense can't put up 2 touchdowns in a row. That's just unheard of.
Yeah, definitely. But going back to the Commanders, do you think that those trades were good for the team, or do you think they're just ready to rebuild?
That was terrible. Why would you get rid of a young stud like Chase Young like that? In my opinion,
I
he
mean,
was your future.
I think they did it because they weren't going to re-sign and they knew that. But if you're going to trade him, get something better than a 3rd-round pick.
Right. That's my whole issue with it. Chase Young is not a 3rd-round pick. If not, he's probably a first-round pick.
He was the first overall pick in the draft.
That's right. So he's at least a 1st-round pick, if not more than that, right? So for the 49ers to be like, here, we'll just give you a 3rd-round pick. And they're like, yeah, we'll take it. They're like, really? All right, send him on over. We already got a house for him.
Literally,
like,
bro.
On,
like
man.
they robbed the Commanders. And that's why I believe the Commanders are just like, time to rebuild. This year isn't our year. Probably fire Ron Rivera at the end of the season, get a better coach, and move on from there.
I feel bad for Ron because he was an amazing coach. I still think he is. I just don't think he's in the right situation. I would feel bad for any coach that has to go into either Washington or Chicago because those 2 organizations just don't know how to rebuild. I think the best situation if you are a coach, go to the Raiders, right? I know it's the Raiders. They haven't had any success. They had the Gruden trouble. They had the McDaniels trouble. They got a great defense. Their offense can be great. It all depends on if they can get the coaching and the quarterback, and we'll see about that later on in the season. But, man, I just feel bad for Washington. I feel bad for Ron Rivera. It just baffles me. It baffled me when I heard that Chase Young got traded for a 3rd-rounder.
Yeah, me too. And let alone to the 49ers, like we said. But
yeah, that was the worst part. Stake to the heart. No one's got a chance anymore. Like, you guys have a chance. Look at what you guys just did. But then again, you guys got demolished by the 49ers without Chase Young. What's going to happen now? Like, it's just crazy to think about.
yeah, it's going to be crazy to watch. We'll see what happens. A lot of football left, but I believe the Commander's best option is to let go of Ron Rivera. He's not the best coach anymore. He was on the Panthers. He's lost his touch. I think he's lost that locker room. I think it's time to move on, maybe even right now, and just give the keys to Eric Bieniemy, who is a rising head coach, and I think he has the potential to be one of, if not the best coaches in the league.
Well, he should have been the coach last year. He should have been a head coach this year, 100%. Right. We all know, he should have got that Texans job. But I think he will get this job. I think he's the right person to get this job, like you mentioned. Build a system around him, build a system with a new quarterback, hopefully, right? And then move on from there. So we'll see what happens.
I believe Sam Howell is not a bad quarterback. I think he can get it done. It's just he won't be able to win in the playoffs, which is what matters.
100%. So I do think you need a quarterback. They have the Scary Terry at the wide receiver position. I think they still have a running back, but he's injured this whole year, right?
They have They have Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
Oh, yeah. But isn't there some kid that was supposed to be really good that got injured at the beginning of this year?
Did they draft one?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
If that's the case, I think they are set up for the future either way. They really just need to get a new head coach in there, get a new system, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, but now they also need defensive tackles, obviously.
Yeah, they sure do. And I don't think a 3rd-rounder is going to get you one of those.
No. So I think they need to focus on defense in the draft after trading arguably their best defensive players and hopefully revamp the team to where they can compete.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
But you got a segment for us, Gio?
Do I have a segment for you guys? Yeah, yeah, I do. So it was recently announced that Devin Booker's first shoe, the orange, is going to be only releasing in a limited amount of 500 pairs, which is the only true good colorway of the sneaker. I don't think it's a pretty looking sneaker. I would only get it because it's Devin Booker's first signature shoe. And yes, it is coming out later in the holiday season. But I thought it was quite odd that they're only good, color release is going to be released in a limited quantity of 500 pairs. So hopefully you guys get the only good sneaker coming out for Devin Booker. But really, um, it's disappointing to see because that is one of the most anticipated signature shoes coming out, and it would be great to get one of the best colorways coming out, which is his orange colorway.
Yeah, I saw that shoe and I was pretty interested in it. It looks pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen it, I definitely recommend taking a look. There's nothing new in video game news, but I would like to say rest in peace, Bob Knight, probably
100%.
arguably the greatest college coach of all time. Rest in peace to him. Condolences to his family. And the basketball game lost a true legend last night.
Yeah, yeah, it is hard to see Bob Knight, Ohio State alumni once again. One of the greats coming from the Ohio State University. It's no surprise there. But Bob Knight, coach of Indiana, right? Legendary coach. No one coaches anyone like that anymore. I don't think they're legally allowed to. But one of the best coaches, a founding father, I would say, of the game, and the ability that we're able to play the game today is because of Bob Knight, right? So congratulations for his success throughout his life, and for people knowing this amazing man and this amazing coach. I just gotta say my condolences to him, his family, and his friends, right? Because he was such a great coach and great person.
For sure. That's all we got for today. See you all in the next one.
Hey, make sure if you guys love the video, hit that like button, right? If you guys disagreed or agreed on anything, or if you guys want to know what Nick's saying is, please go down to the comment section, write a comment saying, "We love you, Nick." And then, like always, like two wise men once said today, subscribe. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.